All right, participants are joining in. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining for the fireside chat today. So we'll be starting soon. And meanwhile, you can kind of prepare yourself, check your device, and also ensure that you are muted the sessions. So uh, upcoming next, I will be introducing the speakers as well as introducing the team and topics. Moving on next, we will have a Q&A sections, and afterwards we'll have uh, Q&A with me and the speakers, and then afterwards we'll open for participants Q&A. So I think we have basically participants coming in. I think we are already reaching 8:32 p.m. So I think we can get started. Speakers, are we ready for the sessions? Okay, cool. So let me have a very classic kind of openings. So give good evening, everyone, and welcome to Heya Inc. at once introduced Industries Fire Chat. So the title for today's session will be Workforce Transformation in the Age of AI Automation, Aligning Education, Industry, and Policy. So basically today, we'll be discussing more on how AI is changing the workforce, and not only in terms of productivity, but also in terms of job structure, skills, education, and talent development. More specifically, we hope to explore three key questions. First, how is AI already changing the way people work across different sectors? Second, is our education system preparing students fast enough for AI-enabled workspace? And lastly, what can industries, companies, students, and policy system do to close the gap between education and work? Let me introduce myself first. My name is Tony. I'm currently working at Intel as a validation engineer, and it's my honor to become your moderator of the day. And for today, we are also honored to have three distinguished speakers with us, representing three important perspectives: the technology, finance, and education sector. First, we have Mr. Lau Shin, Director of Engineering at AMD, who will bring in the technology and engineering workspace perspective. Upcoming next, Dr. Sekar, Chief AI Officer at Kenanga Group, who will bring in finance and AI transformation perspective. And we have Professor Chanini, Dean and of the Faculty of Social Science and Liberal Arts at UCSI Universities, who will bring in the education and talent development perspective. So before we begin the session, I would like to invite each speaker to briefly introduce themselves. Let's have Waishin first.
Sure. Hey, good evening to everyone. My name is Shin. Um, I work in AMDs for last 6 years. So I start up the whole engineering for AMDs in Penang, Malaysia. Since 2020, deep in the pandemics. I'm the first one to came with the AMD, and then now we are talking about 1,000 plus engineers working in AMD. In range of AI's GPUs, data center CPUs, client CPUs, gamings, so all this is actually currently working and designs out from Malaysia sites.
Right, thank you,
I'll pass
Waishin.
back to you, Tony.
Yes, thank you, Waishin. Upcoming next, let's have Dr. Sekar.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Shekhar. I'm the Group Chief AI Strategy Officer for Kenanga Group. And we started our AI initiative about 7 years ago. And so we have created, I lead the groups, all of Kenanga's AI initiatives and as well as manage the AI Center of Excellence for Kenanga. So we have different strategies for that, where we aspire to be an AI-enabled organization, AI-skilled organization, which three focus of initiative: cost optimization, process optimization, as well as revenue growth. So good to be here, and thank you, Tony, and everyone.
Right, thank you, Dr. Sekar. Next, let's have Prof. Chan.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Happy to see you all here. I am from UCSI University. It's one of the top private universities in Malaysia. We are, I think, a top 1% university in the US ranking, a QS ranking for the world. So as you can see, we are therefore in a very highly competitive space. I would say that there has to be a slight clarification. I'm no longer Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences. I'm a professor now, okay? Taken my time doing a lot of all this administrative work. My research and my teaching is, my research is into bullying and cyberbullying and roasting. So a highly important area of research. And my other area of focus, and that's why I'm here today, is on AI in education. So my research is at the intersection of technology and societal, I would say, practices. And that's the important part about how society changes and practices changes as a result. I think that's all I can say now. Okay, over to you, Tony. Yes.
All right, thank you, Professor Chan.
Mm.
So basically, we have a very diverse background for our speakers from education, technology, as well as finance. So I guess today we have a very fruitful discussion. Let's go. Without further ado, let's go into our very first topic of the day. So let's begin our first topic. So let's set the stage at where are we seeing globally currently. So when we're talking about AI and workspace in transformation, many people think first of the thing is from technology sectors. For example, like we can see that Amazon announced around 60,000 job cuts globally, reflecting how large technology companies are restructuring as automation and AI adoption accelerates. In the same time, we're also seeing that Meta is basically being exposed that they are training AI to replace their their workers itself, their engineers. But what is also striking is that the impact is not limited to technology as well as finance sector. So we can see that in financial sectors, HSBC is reportedly considering to cut off 20,000 of the job cuts, or about 10% of your workforce, as AI is expected to shrink middle and back office functions. So basically, AI currently is no longer a productivity tool. It's beginning to reshape how companies structure work and how many people are needed for certain functions and what skills are expected from employees. In Malaysia, currently we don't see that the AI-driven layoff are in the same scale as US, but however, the direction is become more clear. Many roles, especially in tech, finance, and business operations, expecting stronger digital capability. Basic coding and scripting automations are all increasing become an advantage in some roles. So with that context, I would like to begin with Waishin. Let's have the what is happening currently. So Waishin, from the current technology and engineering sector, how is AI being adopted in the workspace so far? And which part of the work had changed most visibly in current technology sectors?
Sure. You basically can see, whatever just now you have mentioned a lot is software-based company. Uh, and again, there are also a lot of service providers that they are doing a lot, building up a lot on the data centers, that they invested heavily. You know, uh, Mentions about job cuttings and all those, you can basically, if you deep dive a little bit into it, they are optimizing their investment. They actually have a balance sheet, like P&L balance sheet. They are optimizing their P&Ls, really channels into where they are building mega data centers today. You can see whatever financials announcement updates they're giving out is like, hundreds of billions pour into building a data centers. The way they are doing job cutting is really make sure their P&L is a little bit more balanced into it, because talent is actually one of the biggest spenders for most of the software companies. Well, today, you were talking about Malaysia's sites, right? Let's talk about specific in Malaysia's, the adoption is very uneven in AI. In MNCs, you can see that, also driven by, their headquarters in US and all those, they are pushing really hard into AI adoptions. But, let's look into purely Malaysia-based type of a SME. I personally feel like, a lot is also, let's wait and see. Uh, I mean, generally, I also working with Invest Penang, right? I also do have quite a bit of insight into some of the companies. We I personally don't see any major layoff, destructive AI implementation resulting in a big lose of people is losing job. This is where I'm seeing on it. But again, Prof and Dr. Sekar, you guys can continue to chime in. I can speak nonstop, but I just want to make sure that I give some time to the rest.
Right, thank you, Wai Shin. Kind of can relate that because as well, part of my job scope now, besides validation, doing engineering stuff, I also need to do some AI automation development. This is part of my job scope at OKR as well. So this is for technology sectors. Given some view of engineers. So upcoming next is for Dr. Sekar. I would like to bring you in for financial perspective. We often assume that the technology sector will be affected first, but recent developments suggest that finance will be also highly exposed to AI automation. Do you see the similar trend in finance sectors?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at the financial sectors, we are very highly regulated. So our people that we have, AI is a very important tool for us at this moment, simply because regulatory requirements and compliance requirements are getting much more stringent, and the turnaround time for us to manage that regulatory requirements is now getting smaller and smaller because there are a lot of AI-based threats in terms of fraud, in terms of cybersecurity threats that are gaining more momentum with the use of AI, even fraud GPT. I'm sure you would have heard about fraud GPT as well. So we have to build better resilience, and we can't do it with just human beings. We have to put in more AI-based threat management and defense system, and also to be in compliance with the regulators. Now, what we have done is we do not remove people. What we are doing is we know that this is going to continue to grow, and this is going to get more intense. So instead of us employing more people just to support the changes in regulatory requirements, we are now training our people to work faster with AI. But the knowledge that they have is very valuable because most of them have come with years of knowledge. In financial services, it's that knowledge is not a commodity yet, because you need to understand, you need to be innovative, but you need to stay within the regulatory compliance kind of requirement, and at the same time do a lot of safeguard in order to protect customers' investment and money as well. So if you look at job that are very mundane and operational, we are making it simpler, so that what we have done is we want to create speed with AI rather than cut costs. So it's more of cost optimization. So that means regardless when the business grows or when the market moves and we have more requirements to fulfill from an operational perspective or a delivery perspective, our staff do not have to increase with the market trend. They remain flatlined. So cost optimization is flatlining rather than cost reduction. So we value that knowledge base that they have had with the years to do. So that's where what we're doing is we're not getting them to just use AI. We're skilling them, giving them the AI skills to actually develop the agentic tools, understand the AI, so that they can blend it with their workload. And that's where we are empowering them to work better as well. So there is a shift, but I think if banks and financial services don't adopt where you keep the human in the loop and you train the human to be the expert in AI, to be the tool that accelerates their job or augments their job, then they will be safe. If they use AI to do everything, then the humans in that organization are not going to stay safe. But I believe that trend will soon catch up.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sekar. So basically, from what Dr. Sekar and Wai Shin shared just now, as for now, Malaysia, we haven't seen a very obvious of job cuts because of AI, but we do see a trend that MNCs or tech finance or sectors companies, they are basically training their people to learn more AI, optimizing AI into their workflow for better efficiency. This is what is the trend of Malaysia is having now. So the next question I would like to follow up is that as AI become more embedded in the workflow, so what is the expectation for talent changing, especially at junior level? Any firms that are we going to hire fewer juniors, or we're going to hire same amount of juniors, but we're going to raising their skill bar? Like they need more requirement, they need to have AI, they need to have scriptings in order to enroll into the same junior position. Do we see this trend coming in? Maybe we start from technology sectors first, Wai Shin?
Sure. For the last 6 years, I at least I hire more than a couple of hundreds people, and then more than hundreds of them are actually from junior peoples. I just have to be very, very open with you. None of my interview question is like, do you know how to use AI? Do you know? Of course, students can talk to it and all those, but my a lot of my fundamental is the students' abilities to understand their whatever they are studying in universities or not. I'm asking as simple as questions like, can you tell me how capacitors is functioning? A lot more is like, because I'm testing the students' ability to understand um their whatever he study, whatever he's good at, whatever the time he spent on. If I asking that, hey, can you use open claw to design a script thing to me, is probably is very unfair to them because, today I really don't see, that education system is fully baked in yet. So, whatever I'm looking for is, the attitudes, the abilities to understand what he or she is doing or studying for the last 4 years. To be frank, I see whatever for the last 6 years ago and now the CV, their resumes is improving very professional returns over in 2026. Apparently, it's a lot of help from AI, which is I appreciate that. But they can't explain whatever there's written in the CV. I just say, hey, this is your final year projects. Can you tell me more? What is behind the background and all those they were like so a lot of them are actually looking for fundamentals knowledge. There's the because AI, you are just using it as a help. Fundamentally you still need to verify the correctness. You still need to make sure that decisions making is on you. If a student that is beyond his capabilities of utilizing AI cannot judge what is right or wrong, it's probably not in my considerations.
Understand. Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah.
fundamentally, it haven't changed my way of hiring the right attitudes students that really spend time to understand their fundamentals. This is very important because no one can change physics for every things in this world unless it's God is coming in. But so fundamental is still very important. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
thank you, Wai Shin. So, some of participants are from tech background and they are students as well. So now you heard some tips from AMD. So you submitting application to AMD, remember to double check whether your AI generated resume is basically can understand, and also you need to understand some fundamentals. So that's for technology sectors. So how about finance sectors, Dr. Sekar?
We do a lot of internship programs as well as part of our regulatory requirements as well. So, but when I look at new graduates that will come in, I expect them to know how to use AI. I think depending on the role that they do. So but just like what Waishin said, right? When you use AI, you must know how to validate why you're using it rather than using it for the purpose of making it good. So I have seen those who use AI, they have got very good presentations, they have got very good resumes, everything. But the problem is they are not able to articulate the essence of their thinking. They are not able to articulate the knowledge that is needed for the job or role that they are looking for. So this is where that ability to think, the ability to be innovative and creative doesn't happen. So for them, AI is just something that makes them look impressive on document, but doesn't show their skills to be actually the creative thinker. So that is what they need to do. So I expect them to be able to use AI to come into job and use AI to do their job in a better way rather than to complete the job on time using AI, but they are not thinking about it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sekar. So basically, from what Dr. Sekar and Waishin shared just now, we can observe that currently AI for tech sectors is we still looking at the fundamentals. Meanwhile, for finance, maybe some expectations on the usage. But one thing that both of the speakers mentioned is that students has to know what they how they use how to use the AI and use them for efficiently, but just not just using them blindly. And one of the thing that very interesting that both the speakers mentioned is that the education system. Are we are the education system is ready for to train the students towards the correct usage of AI? This is one of the key points that I catch between the from the response for the speakers. So thank you, Mr. Lau, Waishin, and also Dr. Sekar. So next, I would like to bring in Prof. Chan for this one to help us look at the education and talent development perspective. So as AI changed how work is done, so we also know that it's also changed how students prepare for the work. Like Wai Shin, as also Dr. Sekache mentioned just now, a lot of resume is prepared by AI, and also they have very good in documentation. However, they might can't even explain clearly what is their FYP is doing. So the concern is no longer only on whether students how to use AI. The deeper question is that our education system can train students with the right judgment, technical ability, or how to validate the information as well. So in the same time, basically Malaysia has already recognized this direction throughout the policy framework of National Artificial Intelligence Roadmap 2021 to 2025, which highlight the needs to embed AI into education, upskills educators, and strengthen institution capacity. But um, whether the thing is really can affect the students or not, this is one of the big questions we want to address. So for Prof. Chan, do you think that the current higher education system, universities, is adapting quickly enough to prepare students for AI-enabled workspace?
Okay, thank you for the question. And I do take note of what Waishin and Dr. Sekar said also. It's also something that we at the universities, and I'm sure at the secondary schools, they are also facing, because the students are actually taking a lot of content from AI and not using it well, and this is called plagiarism. So that's the ethics issue as well. So you're taking content and not saying where you got it from. So I think that last year especially was really a watershed year where we saw more and more of the students doing this. Even PhD thesis or master's thesis, you get this kind of content. And we teachers, lecturers, we become experts. We don't need turn it in to tell us that there is plagiarism or whatever, because we can see the style. We can see overnight now the writing of the students have become so much better. So to answer your question, is the education system and education policies catching up? I would say that I think in every country, even as advanced as US or UK or Australia, policy is always one step behind. In Malaysia, although we are very fast compared to, let's say, our Southeast Asian neighbors, we are something like second after Singapore, in the way AI is being taken up, but we are still slower, because although it's a top-down policy which says that use AI, use AI, use AI, and we get all the message, it's like a drum roll, use AI, but the teachers are not as quickly, I would say, trained, okay? Or the students also need this kind of courses. But we are fighting back. We are actually changing the way we assess already. So right now, we do not give things like essays or reports that straight away it will come out of AI. We have changed assessments to such an extent that it's required for them to have reflection, which is their own opinion. And we have actually incorporated a lot of things like oral viva, like oral exams, where we, after they write the report, it's like your resume, You then ask them, tell me more about this, and then you are able to dig and tell them, you don't seem to know your stuff. So the training that we're trying to give to the students right now is to make sure that they learn how to verify, they learn how to look for hallucination, because we do get references at the end that are fake sources, but we do not want to be like a policeman all the time. You have to balance it as well, because if you're always trying to catch them at it, you're not doing the other positive things, which is training them more in the critical thinking. And in human, what I have to say is that, and because my research is also in this area, I think the human judgment, the critical thinking, the creativity can never be ever replaced by AI. And I'm speaking to the graduates now and to the students. That is what the human being is. So even if you use AI, you must actually hone this kind of creative skills, your own human judgment. And sometimes we have assignments, like, for example, sometimes I have assignments where I actually tell the students to go to ChatGPT, to go to Microsoft Copilot or Gemini, and then check all the three of them for the answers to a certain question and tell me and verify what is the difference. How can I tell that this is really something that is a truth? So these are things that we have to teach. And sadly to say, most of us are learning all this on our own because policy is slow. I think you all as employers know that also, because you're also learning on the go. But I think this is what we call a disruption. It's a revolution and it's a disruption, and we're caught in the middle of it, and we try as best as we can to make do with it. And of course, our government is helping, and our universities as well. But the way technology moves and morphs, I would say that we are always 1 or 2 steps behind. But we try our best and we do it. And I think this is the kind of message that we must give to our students and also the people who are working. It is the human qualities that we need to refine so that we are very adaptable. I think
Well,
that's the main point. You're very adaptable. Okay.
yeah, well spoken, sir, and glad to
Yes.
see the evolving, right? Tony, don't mind if I chime in a little bit.
Sure.
Sure.
Where I come from, right? Probably 20 years ago, my education's, my university life is looking for the right answers, score the best results, get CGPA 4.0 to graduate. I mean, I didn't get my CGPA 4.0, but we always train to do the right answers. But in working life, you can't get right answers. They always have a lot of trade-off in the design, be it schedule versus the quality, be it the features versus the schedules, can I slot in more, be it the revenue versus the timeline, there's a lot of trade-off needed, today in working environments. And, you can't solely rely on, the AI system to tell you what to do next. They are also have a lot of people's related, they are also have a lot of judgment needed, which, inside the computers, AI can give you advice, but, me have to do a lot of decisions every day. And that, it can't be trained, AI can't answer you with the right answers. There's a lot of scenarios because AI is still behind the computers. There's still a lot of people's to people's judgment and all those things is actually super important in the working life. Abilities to call out your values, in your career is super important as well. All those things AI can never help you. At least I don't see, there's a trend that able to help you from there. You can talk about NVIDIA, Jensen Huang's having the best GPU in the industry, but again, he also as a human, he could make decisions. Where is the future is, where is the roadmap and all those, where the investment coming in. So a lot of this can be replaced by AI, and then that's where everyone in the line online is very important for you guys continue to develop on this area.
Right, thanks. Thank you, Professor Chan, and also Wai Shin for the top up. So basically, it's for me, it's good to see that education sector is basically evolving itself to encounter the challenges created by AI, and also as well as we are trying to prepare students well, not only teach them how to use AI, but how to use AI efficiently, how to validate the things, and also think creatively, according to what Prof Chan say. But I have one follow-up questions for that. So basically, we already have the uh, courses different for the students, but how about the educators? Are our educators or teachers are ready for that? Or do we have a so-called train course for all the educator lecturers to adapt this kind of the situations? Maybe this is mainly to Prof. Chan.
Okay. I would say that since I did a study, it is a study of Southeast Asian educators. These were the lecturers in Southeast Asian universities. And we asked them in 2024, how were they coping with the disruption of generative AI and other AI tools? And the story that they told us was that in the beginning, of course, they were really lost, because they were, for example, asked to teach, with tools that they never asked to teach with, So these are the AI tools and Gen AI and all the other tools that are used for imaging, etc. But they then went through a stage where, because the institutional policies were deliberately vague, and I would say that the institutional policies from the universities at that time were still evolving as well. And in our Southeast Asian countries, I think the policy was to allow people to experiment. So there were no university that said cannot use ChatGPT, cannot use DeepSeek or whatever. Of course, DeepSeek came later. So one of the things is that we found that the educators, therefore, began to start learning where to put the boundaries. What are things that are important? What are things that they will not allow in the classroom with AI? And these become the rules now that I think I would say the guidelines are now become tighter because we have learned from this. So yes, the training of the lecturers, there were some briefings, some training sessions, but because of the nature of the technology, you really have to undergo it yourself. And you know what is the most interesting thing I found out from that study of this educators from Southeast Asia? I think 67 of them. What actually they said that it was a journey that they have to continue. There was no way they could get off the journey. So even the oldest or the most traditional lecturer knew they were in this journey together and they had to learn it along the way. So yes, there are some training courses, but I would say the training is still, we would love to have more. But we also learned a lot of things ourselves as we were, I would say, negotiating with our students, we were teaching with our students, So things like this. So yes, the educators, I would tell you, we know we have no choice. AI is here to stay. So whether you like it or not, you have to learn it. You have to use it. So I think this is the message that I would say. Of course, there are people who are faster and there are people who are slower. There are people who are more open and there are people who are still a bit rigid. But from 2024 till now, if you talk in 2026, many of them are really completely on board already. There's no choice. There's no choice. AI has totally transformed the way we work, the way we practice, and the way we think.
Yep.
So no choice. Okay?
All right,
Tony, can I
thank you.
add on something for
Please.
So I think when we talk about educators and AI being disruptive and coping, I think what we need to do is also think out of the box on the way we teach, right? We have this notion of idea that we need to grade students. I think when we grade students, we use certain kind of text on what is the way to understand finance, what is the way to understand accounting or the sort of. This has got nothing to do with technology, but this is giving them an fundamental foundation understanding of how you deal with all these things. However, when they answer those questions in an essay and everything, they're going to use ChatGPT to answer. So, like Wei Xin said, that CGP 4.0 is very important to get the grades. I think the word C should stop being cumulative and should be competency, right? So instead of when you do grading, I think that should only give you 50% for you to graduate. That means you have studied your lessons well. Whether you use ChatGPT to answer or not, that doesn't matter. But there should be a exam where you give a multiple uh, choice kind of a question where the answers are graded by AI to see the way you think, how competent you are in the knowledge that you have understood and the applicability of the knowledge. So I think the AI tool that enable teachers, we can't remove educators, but what we can do is enhance what the educators have nurtured from the students. So the way you grade them or the way you test their competency has to be enabled or assisted by AI. So you can set those questions and then the AI can evaluate then the way you teach and the way your student have become competent. I think they become better graduates that will be very valuable to industry. We need to move to that direction. So traditional grading doesn't work anymore, from my
Uh,
point of view.
Yes, I agree also to some extent because we are moving from traditional assessments.
Good.
Because the main thing is that I think many of the or all the universities are already using coursework. So we have projects, we have problem-based learning, So it's not writing essays or reports anymore, And a lot of it depends on the discipline. So for example, hotel management, design, they are mainly industry-based projects, things like that. So competency-based. But I would like to say that uh, one of the new evolving stand that universities are taking is that we feel, or at least some of us feel, that AI cannot do the assessment because if we put everything in, because I think some lecturers are beginning to use AI to help them to mark. So there is the ethics issue of it. The main thing is that you cannot put the student data into AI and it'll be absorbed by AI and all that. So that's the Privacy Act and all that. So we, at this stage, for what I know, University of Sydney, because we have one of the professors that we're working on with a project, he tells us that University of Sydney has barred using AI for marking. It can be used for other things, but not for marking for the lecturers. So because here nowadays we have things like ethics, privacy laws, things like that. So that one is important. But you're right that we are actually moving. We're not as old style or traditional anymore. No choice. We will have to move. And I think we are moving and we're trying out different types of assessments. Having said that, there is also a place for traditional exams in the sense that a lot of the project work, all this can be actually supported or helped by AI. But when you go into the exam hall, you are actually getting the students to really think and write. They don't have the computer there. And
Yes.
there have been studies where they say, I think some Danish study that says that the students actually learn better when they write and they can remember better when they write. You know how bad our writing is nowadays? It's because we don't write that much anymore, right? So this is something. So it's a balance of the old and the new. We try new ways of teaching. So teaching is, I'm one of the lecturers that train my university's new lecturers. So we have a postgraduate diploma where we actually teach this new lecturers. And this is where for example, teach them about active learning, how to engage the class. So it's not the old style where the lecturer is talking all the time and then you just write notes, something like that. You know the attention span of our students nowadays? 10 minutes. Lucky if you can get their attention for half an hour, no longer 1 hour. Okay? So these are some of the things, but a good point. Okay? Thank you, Dr. Sekar. Yeah.
So just adding on, I'm very happy that you guys are on board and evolving to what we're needing. So I'm just going to speak to you about our interview process. So when we interview candidates, we have a JD, and when we interview candidates, we look at their resume to see whether they're fit for the role, they have enough experience and everything. After the candidate is shortlisted and before the candidate comes for an interview, the candidate has to answer a very long multiple choice question, right? And what this questionnaire does to me, this is an assessment, right? It tells me whether the candidate is competent enough from his knowledge and his this one for the job. So whether he's a 60% fit for the role or 85% fit for the role. Nobody hits 100% normally, right? And then whether this person can work under pressure or how his reaction or her reaction will change under pressure. Is this person has the ability to apply what they have learned into the job? Is this person has an ability to contribute very well? So this competency is very, very important for us to see whether am I selecting the right candidate? Simply because I'm going to interview for maybe half an hour to 1 hour. Sometimes the interview doesn't last more than 15 minutes because they open their mouth, they have said the wrong things already, right? So when we do that, right, that half an hour, 1 hour is not enough for me to gauge his competency. So we have to take a gamble with a candidate. Why I say the word gamble is if they are not competent, the labor law doesn't cite the employer to terminate or change. So that's why we are now have to put all these things, and it's very, very strict that we need to manage that. So finding the right candidate is like a needle in the haystack nowadays because they have got experience, they have got the knowledge, but they may not have the competency to perform in the job that you're looking for. So, and even to the leadership, even to working as a team, the ability to share, the ability to teach, everything comes from the junior level. We don't look at managerial level with leadership skill. We see them at the entry level as well. Simply why? Because we want to train everybody to become a leader one day. So they must have the competency and the thinking to do that. So I'm giving you from an employer perspective how we are evaluating. So it will be that you also understand our side of perspective, that you will know that you can teach your students that, passing, you need to build this competency overall as
Yeah.
well.
I
Because we want good candidates as well. That's why.
I agree. Competency for us is knowledge, skills and attitudes, right?
Yep.
So these are the three and it's one of the basic things for a curriculum nowadays. So we're looking at
Very good.
competency-based curriculum. So we agree, but I would also agree with you that there's a lot more that can be done, because sometimes we get the better ones, they can actually learn very fast. But sometimes the average or the weaker ones will take a longer time to get this kind of skills.
Yep.
But you're right that these should be focused as main things and not just the AI, because these are the human skills. These are the
Exactly.
human judgment that we really need to actually hone and refine against the background of the AI.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
If I were to add in from my angle, right, after after Sekar is mentioned, I recently came across, some ways of evaluating candidates, right? A lot of people today, especially fresh graduates, they are very worried that, hey, when I graduate, how do I make sure I'm ready for the industries, especially AI digital eras today? Or there's a lot of people is saying that, hey, is my background ready for whatever AI? I recently came across advice, to the teams that, I probably want to share with for those that coming across to the fresh graduate, right? Instead of waiting, say, hey, is my educationals today ready for industry or not? A lot of things actually happens in digital era. One advice that, one of my colleagues is saying that, hey, before we hire the employees or the candidates, we check his background. We go into his LinkedIn, we go into his whatever's areas that they've been active on, right? We check how the background is this employees or this candidate is. Um, one advice for those that sitting here and listens, right? You actually can make yourself, or packaging yourself into a branding of very AI saggy, which is, you probably can take out 90 days challenge, like, let's say you think of some AI small projects and all those, do study, have a weekly small updates on it. If people is looking at your LinkedIn, people will say, hey, this guy looks, pretty good at this AI background, etc. You know, uh, you can do it as a mini projects, instead of purely waiting, say, hey, I've graduates, whatever my curriculum, is it fit to the industry or not? Bring all those make yourself outstanding opportunity into your hand. Have a mini projects, have something studies and all those. Try not to copy ChatGPT or something. Just paste it. Everyone will have easily notice it, but do a little bit of mini projects from your own, learn from it. Understand it, update in your LinkedIn. Before that, my LinkedIn wasn't active, but then when I start to get active, there's a lot more people adding me and have a lot more conversations along the way. So if you really want to make yourself outstanding and be ready, so-called industry AIs ready, you should help yourself, have a little bit of 90-day challenge. That definitely will help you a lot more. Trust me. And once your LinkedIn have more than 500 network, it will be exponentially grows a lot. Let's be helping yourself instead of asking questions, sit in every of the fireside chat hoping to get an answers. You should be able to help yourself with a little bit of small action for your site.
All right. Thank you, all the speakers, Prof. Chan, Dr. Sekar, as well as Wai Shin. So we have a deep dive into education system revolutions and also what is the current ways that education sectors is basically handling AI. So basically, we can know that the issue currently is not whether students can use AI or not, or whether companies can improve productivity on that. The bigger concern now is how we continue building real human capability in an AI-enabled workspace. So there's one follow-up question for all the speakers. So what can the students or current young workers, current professionals do immediately to stay relevant as AI change workspace expectations? So as for the discussion just now, we can see the policy and education is basically maybe policy is two steps slower. So what young workers and students can do, and how can the current talent reinvent themselves to become more adaptive in AI shared workspace? Maybe this time around, let's start with Wai Shin.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it a little bit just now. I think I jumped ahead the guns, but you, every one of you should, bring in the AI knowledge by your hand. Be it subscribe to it, be it involved in some of the discussions, this every of the discussions around the world on AI adoption and all those. You should equip yourself on all those as a first thing first. Fundamentally understanding of AI is given. Our even our companies, right? We are pushing us lean against the wall. There's no way back. Hey, you got to adopt AI today. By all means, you go study yourself, trainings, work with the experts. Those are things is coming. We should embrace it. The industry will eliminate people that have no AI knowledge. today, let's be facing it, if you reluctant and push away adopting AI, the industry will eliminate you. Not AI eliminate you, the industry will eliminate you, by, you just can't avoid we call it a tsunami, because I mentioned tsunami is because, you can't avoid it, you can't pushback, is happening. So tsunami is coming, AI tsunami is coming. So we got to embrace it, we got to manage it upfront, if you say, oh yeah, AI is just this and that, sitting there, wait and see, you will be eliminated. So, embrace it.
Right. Thank you, Waishin. Maybe upcoming next we have insights from Dr. Sekar.
Right. When students are graduating and I think the first thing that they have in their mind is employability, right? So when you talk about employability, let's see it from different perspectives. The first perspective, if you are a finance graduate, what you have to do before you get out to the job market is to go and see what has disrupted the financial industry or jobs that are related to finance. What has AI disruption that has taken place to the job that you are planning to do, right? So you need to go and understand how disruptive AI is in your future job as well. Embrace and understand that so you go into the job equipped with the AI tool that's already disrupting the people who are not equipped with it. And it's something that you don't have to think out of the box because there's enough data for that. So this creates employability to you for the areas that you have knowledge and the subject or the major that you have graduated in, right? So your employability becomes more, the chances are better. Now, when you have this thing, the next part that you have to do is how do you create value for yourself? One is employability and the added value. The added value is how do you use these AI tools to enhance and grow? So if you're going to go in as a finance executive, understand how a CFO is using AI as well. Understand how a CFO is thinking. So why am I doing this is because only those who have value, not about optimization, not about process efficiency, not about automation. It is about those who have critical entrepreneurial skills. That means you become value to the growth of the company rather than optimizing costs. Costs will always get optimized. But the next wave is when we look for people who are going to help to grow the company. So now you're employable, but you also now are going to be value to the organization. This is your biggest thing that you can do for yourself with the help of AI. Now, the third is if let's say you are a very generic, you're doing business administration or kind of a graduate, that means you now need to become a person who's going to be AI, but the use of AI that is agnostic to all industry. That means you are an entrepreneur by thought, right? So when you are an entrepreneur by thought, so when you go into any industry, you're not going to go in to be the entry staff that's going to do data entry or reporting. You should be thinking at why is this report important to my CEO for him to go and build a business? So you should be having the thought process like a young CEO. Today, we have seen a lot of CEOs below 30, even in public listed companies. So this is the entrepreneurial mindset. With AI, that journey can be accelerated. So education gives you knowledge, applicability gives you understanding and experience, but what can't give you is your entrepreneurial skills, the ability to think out of the box, the ability to do something that you can create. But you must be innovative enough, right? And the third part of this is more to the employers. I think when the Gen Zs are very new breed of thinking, they're very socially very connected, but they also don't like to do work in a very structured time frame, like 9 to 5, 8 to 4 kind of work. They can't do that, 8 to 5, right? 9 to 6. But do you know that I have a lot of people in the Gen Z space who works extra hours and works like crazy for me? Simply because you cannot bring the Gen Zs to go into a structured environment that you have to work 3 years before you can be promoted, you have to work 5 years. I give them enough challenge that they don't have space to breathe also, right? So this is what they like. They are like people who like to be challenged. The challenging is into their thinking. And this is how you get the best breed of your fresh graduates, right? They will be able to deliver more things and very accurate things if you put them into the challenge. You just say, if you use them as people who are like in those days in Malaysia, kaki tangan, like hands and legs for your job, you're not going to get the best value out of them. And they will definitely will not stay more than a year or even less than a year, right? So I think there are two sides. I cannot be saying what I want from an employee, or graduate, but I also say that employers also should change their mindset when they are employing graduates as well.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Sekar. So as a Gen Z employees, I totally agree with what Dr. Sekar is saying, right? As well as currently, I'm also one of the Gen Z that probably is willing to OT itself and for more challenges. But let's hear from educators sectors as well. Prof. Chan.
Okay, I think I agree with what the two speakers say, but I want to add it from the educational perspective. I am also an employer sometimes when I hold the position of dean or deputy dean. We actually sit in on interviews and we make decisions on who to hire as our lecturers and all that. So one of the things that I always ask the young people when they come for interview is, what is your X factor? And everybody must have an X factor. What do you have that is over and above what the rest of the people are having? Because a lot of them have good results, good resume, but what else do you have? So that person needs to tell us what is so special about that. What is the passion? What is the kind of problem solving that they can do that makes them stand out from the others. And this is my advice to all the rest of the graduates or all the students right now. Make sure that you cultivate your X factor. What is it that makes you stand out and be special compared to others? It could be a hobby, it could be sports, it could be something that shows us that you have that grit, that determination, that passion, that will make you stay in a job and do excellently or outstandingly. So I think this is what I tell my students or my young staff as well. This is the way you actually must develop yourself. So what Wai Shin said, take on little projects, all this during your course of your undergraduate years, your postgraduate years. Make sure you take on those AI projects or make sure there's inclusion of AI inside because it challenges you. It adds to whatever. Then you tell us how you solve it differently. What creative aspects did you add in? Now, this is what gets employers excited, not the fact that, you just did this job, etc. So I have been in charge of scholarship students before also. This is how I train them as well. So, you need to make sure that you stand out. And it could be as simple as something of a hobby that stays with you and how you use it to actually cultivate your own strength or your character, or how then you can bring it to your job. So the transferability, how you transfer it is also important. Adaptability, I use that quite a lot. So that one is very important in age of AI. Okay? So
All right.
do that as a student and do that as a young working adult. Or even, for example, me as an old working adult. I still need to be adaptable. Okay. All right.
Right. Thank you, Prof. Chan. So basically, we have one question coming in from one of the Heya in people. So just now we mentioned about students and so young workers. So how about mid-career people? So do they need to act something similar like young workers, like more explore more on it? Maybe this time around, let's start with Dr. Sekar.
Well, I think if you're talking about middle age or midstream workers, right? I think anybody above 30 to 45, if they're going into a job, right? I think they generalize AI a lot. They assume that AI is a technology that is just another internet or digital technology is going to be there. I think it's like a .com, it will fail, it will burst and all those things. It depends on where you are in the stages of AI or where in the perspective. I think if you are in the infrastructure, you are in the software, you are in the use of AI, you're in the optimization. I think if you do not understand this, you're not going to get a job, right? It's not that you're going to go, whether you know cloud scripting, Claude, or whether you know Chat GPT and everything. So I have sat in an interview where the person generalized the AI so much that he was simplifying it, that simply, and he's coming for a job that is for AI as somebody who's going to be using AI in general. So he didn't do his homework. He thought it was easy for them to breeze through because they could say anything about that um, um, seem like they are an expert, right? But it is not. It could be somebody younger than you that's going to interview you also, and they could be very far ahead about the understanding of AI. I think, as Waishin also earlier said, AI is like a tsunami, is here to stay. Be prepared. It's already in your life. You are using it one way or another, but while you use it, learn how to be responsible for how you're using it, right? If you, the National AI Office is already submitting a governance document to the cabinet this month, and it will be tabled in the parliament where every person in Malaysia have to be responsible for the use of AI, whether it's autonomous driving, whether it's you're using AI and then you create something out of the web and everything and it affects somebody else, you're still responsible. So as far as you own that, the output from the AI, you are responsible. And now a law will be passed to act against you for the wrongful use of it as well. So it is going to affect every citizen in Malaysia. So what more employees who are in that range, whether we are young or old, it is a necessity, it's a utility for lack of a better word, and it's a new lifestyle.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Sekar. Good to hear that finally policy is starting to chase up
Yeah.
after a few years of AI implementations. So maybe let's hear from a perspective from Waishin.
Sure. Before that, let me share one page, right? This is from, let me see how, this is from Anthropics. I think Dr. Shagai mentions, depend really which segment you are in. This is published in March, 2026. This is where different domain and different segment. And then, they do have a study that, the blue color line is where theoretically they want AI to be covered. But, apparently it's in the red line. You can see that, there's a lot of things that is not moving towards everyone's expectations. Especially a lot of some of the segment is still dominated by middle-aged people in careers. So, for those that, abilities to adopt AI faster in this segment, you will come in as a winner. You can be continue to resist it, but again, if you are the front runners, you definitely will be the one that being valued the most. It really depends, whether you are in management, business, finance, computers, architectures, and engineering. But if you, let's say, example, you are in the food servicing, ground maintenance, people care, agricultural, those things that you probably have lesser worries because, the expected on AI is way lesser. But if you are in these couple of segments, the expectations, be it from your CEO, be it from your CFO, the expectation is really large in your AI adoptions today. Yeah, this is where I just want to make sure that, we just have to embrace it if we are in these few domains.
All right. Thank you, Waishin. It's interesting to know that there's a lot of info to digest inside the graph. So maybe let's hear from Prof. Chan as well. How was that?
Okay, for the mid-career people, 30s to 40s, I would say that actually you're in a very good position because you have experience, and you have the knowledge. But because AI is here to stay and it has really disrupted us, it's very important for the mid-career people to also really keep up or even, follow, not follow the wave, but actually be immersed in it. So it means that, and this is coming from educationists, a person, we always advocate reading. Make sure you read about AI. Make sure you read the blogs. It may not be a book. Nowadays, I think very few people can sit through a book already, but you just like movies, very few of us can sit through a movie already. So one of the things is to read, to keep up, and to really engage yourself into the projects, that is for the older adults like me also. I take part in AI as well because you must have a very open attitude. So the mindset and the attitude is very important. If you don't have that, then everything will be alien to you. So for mid-career, I would say keep up with it. Make sure you actually mess around with it. That's a good word. Americans, they say, Gen Z people say mess around. It's very important to mess around with the technology, get used to it, and then make sure that you incorporate it into your practices. Then your boss will see that you are actually still very valuable. And then use your knowledge of whatever industry you have together with the AI, then you become super important. Don't feel worried about the young people who know technology more than you. They don't have the product knowledge or the content knowledge. Okay? All right.
All right, thank you, Prof. Chan, and thank you all the speakers. As for now, we have covered a lot of things from what is the current landscape for different sectors on AI, and also what is the employers are using AI for, what is the industries are basically expecting AI in Malaysia, and also how it affect the new hirings and also the expectation towards current workers. And we also know that education sector as well is a little bit of slow, but they're quickly flowing up on educating our next generations towards the to fulfill the expectations toward for the industry's needs for the talents. And I think as well as one of the main thing that we discussed today is AI is basically one replacing the people that have talents and also have the unique points that they have some of the humans enable or skills. They will only in swipe away. I mean, the tsunami of AI will be swiped away for those who refuse to learn or refuse to keep up with the current technologies. So I wish to discuss more, but however, the time is approaching. So I think I will be opening the floor for participants to ask questions to our panelists. So basically, we have a lot of experienced panels here. So to to get your chance to ask them questions for live answers. So you can either raise your hands and unmute to ask a question, or you can just type the question into the chat box. Okay, so let's open the floor for participants to queue to ask the questions. Do we have any question from the floor? Let's wait a while. Maybe for the typings one, they are still typing. But do we have anyone who is willing to unmute themselves and then ask questions?
Seems like everyone is very shy.
Yeah, it's quite shy for this time around. It's okay. It's okay. I think if there
Tony,
is yes,
before we go, maybe I ask you a question.
okay, okay.
Because being a Gen Z, right? Would you join an organization that is in using AI extensively, or would you join an organization that's moderately using it or not using it?
Oh, this is a very interesting question. Uh, as a Gen Z, I think I use AI a lot. Right. It's either my personal life or basically in work also. So just for the answers, I will be joining the organization that use AI a lot. Uh, but depends. It actually depends. It depends on how is the usage. But as for now, my current company they are using for productivity boost, and also for to allow us to have more time to go deep into R&D sectors to solve more issues. This is what one of the workspace they are currently looking for. We're not using AI just to do all the works and then we just sit there and then do other things. But we utilize AI for our productivity, and we use the time for more thinking oriented tasks.
Oh,
There, guys.
okay. So you're using AI to make your job. Would you prefer where AI is used to make your job very simple, easy, or would you rather use AI that your job, in a very challenging job that every day you go, you're finding answers and solutioning?
I
Which
think
one?
mm, I'll be more prefer to R&D environment where AI is an assistant for me to solve a lot of complex problem,
Right.
especially for the problem that have no current answer or there's more than one solutions. This is something that excites me lah. That also what I'm doing in the current jobs as well.
So is this something that you would say is the same kind of attitude for most of the Gen Z or only very few?
I think this is very it very varies, but I think for the Gen Z that I know, basically it's more like my side we're going to utilize AI for more for R&D and also boost productivity to solve more problems to have a more time to think about the new innovation stuff there and also focusing on some of the new projects that I'm currently doing using agentic AIs. So I think there's a portion like maybe, but Gen Z is usually will have like to have more challenging things. I think
Yep.
will be currently for my generations we would like to explore more lah. But
Right.
right.
Okay. Now
Oh
you have
well.
some questions.
Okay. Questions from Tina Curran. What are the prospects of a role managing AI will be in next 5 years? Specifically, what do you feel is the possibility of AI department developing similar to IT departments specifically for handling and managing AI agents used by companies? Will this be offered as a course education first or will it appear in industry first? I think this is a chicken and egg question. Maybe let's start with any speakers would like to take this first? AI
Well,
departments or AI courses?
well, for the industry one, right? I lead the AI Center of Excellence in the bank, right? For the group. Now we don't have anything called we would not. My department is called Digital Strategy, but it acts as a center of excellence. The reason why is AI is transitioning into an organization, right? So AI is going to be an enabler, but they are not going to be a support services. It will be there. So the support level or the technology part of AI will still be handled by the tech IT department kind of thing. The use of AI is whether, let me give you an example. If you use Microsoft Office at the beginning when paper-based were there, right? You won't have a Microsoft Office department in the future, right? So AI is like that. It's blended into work. So all department will exist, but AI will augment that. You don't need a separate department. From my perspective, we will never, in Kenanga, we won't have a separate AI department. But the AI initiatives will be monitored so that for cost optimization of the use of AI and to ensure that it reaches its goal of why it's being used, like ROI and KPI capabilities. But it's just for monitoring, but not a responsible department that delivers AI solutions.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sekar. Maybe let's from Shin. How about MD?
Same, we never really have so-called AI managing departments. We do have partnerships with our IT teams, be it developing very specific on, you know, enterprise AI usage, or be it very specific on, customized engineering AI. But we never really have a so-called managing AI type of departments from this angle. But definitely, there are AI developers across the companies over here. That's where they have to, your pure AI developers is very tough to survive, to be frank. You have to come in together. Let's say, example, I'm from engineering. If you purely come in as AI developers, your task will be 10x tougher. But if you're part of the engineering team that have enough engineering background, while your capability, you have a AI development capabilities, this is where the very rare skill and unique value will come in. That you are the part of the engineering organizations, but our problem statements. I don't need to explain from one to hundreds lines talking about engineering's problem. You know what it is. That's where you will success from the angle. If you can't need pure AI, is you will still having your sweet spot is, but it will be tougher to survive.
All right. Thank you,
Mhm.
Aishin. Prof. Chan, do you have any insights?
This one sounds more like an industry question. I can only talk about the university background. We don't have a AI department as well. It's like AI services are together with I would say our IT service support. But each faculty have their deans, all the integration of AI, all this. The actual operations people would be the deans, and of course, we report to the vice chancellor, so that becomes the policy. So we follow that. Okay.
Right. Thank you, Prof. Chan. We have one participant raising the hand, Philip. Philip, do you want to unmute yourself and then ask the questions?
Okay. Hi. This question is a little bit out of the way, but I like to address this to anybody among you who can try to answer. I notice. My question is this. First one is: do you notice that there is a significant dumbing down of our people right now with the advent of apps, in the advent of AI now? For instance, I give you an example. For instance, the days where I had to sit in front of a computer in the lab with a stack of books, writing from night until morning just to produce a paper, I noticed that those days are over, right? But I can also say that we are what we are because of the struggle. The struggle. That's the whole point of our education or our journey. The second thing is even a simple thing like if I were to go and order something at the coffee shop, and I have to total up the stuff that I order. I've noticed that nobody ever bothers to do mental maths anymore. I mean, I can still do that. I do that all the time, but I notice that everybody just either takes out their phone or takes out a calculator nowadays. Um, and when I was first driving in Kuala Lumpur, for instance, I had to drive with a paper map on my front seat, passenger seat, to find my way. Now everybody gets around with maps or ways, right? No struggle. Back then I struggled, but I managed to do it. So what I'm saying is that although our young people nowadays are producing a lot of excellent work with the help of AI, do you foresee that this significant dumbing down of our population are going to present any problems over the next midterm?
Thanks.
Uh,
Very interesting questions. Any speakers? Yes, Wai-Shin.
yeah, I can feel, where Philip mentions, because last time, the technology have changed our way of living. When I first went to US, I need to bring up the map, and then print out all the maps, and if I hit up the wrong exit, I got to reset and drive back all the way to reach my hotel. But now I just take out my phone and all those. I always tell my wife that this is the best technologies invented for Google Map or Waze. Things have definitely have changed our life, Philip. But you know, the way the way I put it is, it's not uh it's not making our things getting lesser output. In fact, for me, I need to produce a lot more outputs, by where I need to be. And by where AI today cannot help me. For example, I think I have mentioned it just now. How do I do a trade-off between my product's decisions? Do I need to go for schedules to meet the industry need, or do I need to add in more features so that, I can sell at a higher cost? Do I need to do that? So I do use a lot more data analysis from AI to help me to make a decisions. But AI today cannot help me to make a decisions. Of course, the decisions is uh getting a little bit way data driven in it. But before that, I probably can make 3 or 4 decisions per day. But today, with the more data analysis put in front of me, I actually need to make a lot more decisions with multiple products decisions today. So, our output and our things is getting a little bit more complicated, uh, uh, you know, from our day-to-day life. And then our produce of output is expected to be more. That's where I can answer you, Phillips. Using brain today, I do agree with you. People have less capabilities of counting, like, $10 divided by 3 is how much per pax, for example. Things have changed our life.
Yeah. So I will also add on. I think when we look at what we are seeing is it's nothing to do. It's not only AI to be blamed. I think the world is evolving at a much more rapid speed. So as what Waishin said, though everybody's life, everybody is in a space where the environment is much more demanding. So if we were to do things in the older ways, we will fall out of uh, fitting into the demand that it requires us to do. So what AI has done is change the world to move at a faster speed. So we also have to get AI to also fit into the speed. Yes, in those days, what we do is while we read books, while we studied a lot of things and everything, our knowledge comes more valuable when we do knowledge sharing, right? So the knowledge sharing was limited to a few group of people or a community or our colleagues and everything. Today, AI has brought in a wider scope of knowledge sharing from global knowledge sharing. That's what Waishin is saying about data kind of thing. And that knowledge sharing is now easily available for people. So when then our thinking those days was to infer what this knowledge is about. How do we apply it? AI has simplified that understanding of inference with a larger set of knowledge, with more experience from people out there, and also the applicability to a shorter time frame. So what we're doing is we are now the AI has helped us to be doing things with more precision and speed. And that's why the digital industry or the every industry is moving at that rapid speed as well as precise decisioning. That's very important. So thinking is still there because in every organization, you don't make the AI to make the decision. The human is the one who's saying that whether is this rapid understanding of the situation is the right way for me to take the next action that makes the decision. So that knowledge is very important. So yes, Philip, the world is changing. We have evolving, and this is the new world that we have to embrace.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sekar. Professor Chan, do you have anything to talk about?
Just a quick one, Philip. I think AI, quite a few people, and I know that some teachers, especially in the secondary school or primary school systems, are worried that with the use of AI, the students and even at the university are not using that critical thinking because they're just plagiarizing, taking from the AI without really understanding or thinking about it. So then they say that such students will become dumber and dumber. That's their fear, okay? So one of the things we would say is that there is a danger of this, but as the other two speakers have said, it's actually also AI has, and it's not only AI, it's actually more technology. Technology has brought such different types of thinking and different types of practices that our pace in life has become very intense. The way we do things are different as well. So it could be a passing of old practices. There are good things about the old practices, but the new world behaves in a different way. So if you look at it, it's not so much a dumbing down, but actually a phasing out of old practices. And one day that old practice will not be there anymore. It's sad. It's like the camera. We used to buy cameras, just for taking photos. Everything is now in the phone. The voice recorder, everything is in the phone as well. So that industry has been phased out. Things like that. So I think that it is, but of course, the danger of certain things, letting AI just do all of our thinking is there, and we have to take steps to prevent it. And I think there was a MIT study that said that students who keep using AI, actually their brain neurons did not have new ones, they died. So yes, there's really a danger of you becoming dumber. Okay, I hope I've answered that question.
Thank you, all the speakers. Philip, do you have any follow-up questions?
No, thanks. I think I was just articulating my observation, but I'm glad that there are people who see what I'm saying.
All right. Thank you, Philip. I think we have one follow-up question from Tina Karen. I think it's more on the AI related departments in industry as well. I think what he mentioned is around AI agents and not tools like ChatGPT or AI generators. So, do this kind of functions done by people, or is it to be maintained by the agentic roles of AI will be in by IT alongside of IT services, or instead by a specialized department?
Yeah, so maybe I will
Go
answer
ahead,
what we
Dr.
do
Sekar.
in Kenanga as well. So the use of agentic AI for different functionality. So normally, what we do is we get our different units to be trained on how to create agents and how to orchestrate it. Now, because we are a regulated industry, what we do is we ensure that they are ring-fenced, the data stays in the sovereignty. There's a data governance policy. There's an ethical use of it, which is overseen by the Center of Excellence, which is my unit. But the technology that drives or that drives the agentic AI is handled by the IT, because it's still a technology that is going to be that needs to in the background to enable it to function. Whether we are going to use Copilot, or whether we are going to use a very generic, or whether we're going to use on the cloud, we're going to use it on the virtual private cloud, or on-premise kind of thing. That's a technology decision that says, how are we going to secure the data? How do we keep it on-prem? How do we ring fence it and everything? But the tools can be used by anybody, kind of thing. So to create that tools, there can be tool sets. Different organizations have different approach. Sometimes they get the IT department to build. There's like a system requirement. You tell them, they build and deploy, and you use. In our organization, we don't want that to happen. We want the tools to be ready. Then we train the people who are subject matter expertise on how to create their own agents, how to orchestrate their own agents, because it's augmenting their job. So why we do that is so that the agents does not create any hallucination, because the subject matter expertise is the one who's building it. So then it's easily deployable and it's easily implemented with a shorter turnaround time. So everybody who's using it, it augments their job, but the technology pipeline and the technology foundation is managed by IT kind of thing. So we are at one point in the future, when the whole organization is already AI enabled or agentic AI tools that they use, then there is no need for Center of Excellence unless there are use cases or ethical committees that need to monitor the use cases and everything. Again, the policy of responsible AI comes into place as well.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sekar. Wai Shin and Prof. Chan, do
No,
you
I'm
have anything?
nothing much. I think Dr. Sega have explained it very well.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So I think we are a little bit of on time, 10 p.m. So I think let's we can right. Right. We have a few. Okay. Thank you from Tina Karen. I think thank you everyone. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the speakers, Wai Shin, Dr. Seka, and Prof. Chan. Today we have a very fruitful discussion as well, and I think due to the time issues, I wish to discuss more, but let's keep it for another session. So for the participants, thank you for joining us today. And if you have any feedback for us or for me myself, or do you have any topics they would like to further discuss, feel free to let us know through the feedback form. We are happy to look into it and see to have another session maybe with the same speakers or with other speakers with other kind of topic. So I think thank you everyone for your time for tonight and good evening and have a nice day. Good rest everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.